Stock of the Day is brought to you by IG, Australia's #1 CFD provider. Trade over 17,000 markets with extended trading hours on key US shares and competitive spreads, all on an award-winning platform. Get started at IG.com.
So our stock of the day is Telix Pharmaceuticals. It does have a portfolio of clinical products that aims to address unmet medical needs in oncology and rare diseases. Now the company saying it has exceeded its full-year guidance with unaudited revenue reaching $783 million in 2024. That's a 55% increase from the previous year. The top end of its guidance was at $776 million. The company now plans to provide full-year 25 guidance when it reports its audited results on the 20th of February. And taking a look at the stock today, it is up 3%. But goodness gracious, you take a look over the past 5 years, it has to be one of the best performing stocks. It's up around 1,500% over those past 5 years. Mathan, what's your view on Telix?
I used to work at the shop that actually floated Telix. And the analyst at that time was very bullish. And his view was they will have, the thing about it is you're not buying a stock for, they're not selling widgets to get revenue. This is about future prospect of technology in areas that currently not being serviced. So it's your classic biotech / health services. And it's, there's a few stocks that are doing this kind of work. And it was, they've done phenomenally well, better than even what the analyst thought, and I'll give him credit for it. He picked it early and he didn't change his mind, and they've done really, really well. I think it's a great stock. It just comes down to how much you're paying for it. There's a few that done in a similar trend. They're not the same, but PME is another one. Clarity is another one. They all had phenomenal runs. And in the last couple of years, it's good to be a growth stock. If you're a growth stock, you've had a phenomenal run on optimism. Before, because bond yields were coming off, then afterwards it's basically multiple expansion because the market was paying high prices. So it's a really good stock, well managed. They've executed on everything. You've done well. There's no reason that you need to sell, except for the fact that it's extremely expensive. So if you're an existing shareholder, you're not going to care what anyone says. You're going to hold it, and I think that's fair enough. But if you got new money, are you going to go into a stock that's done as well as it's done now? That's tough. So for me, it's a hold. But what I'll say is the lesson you have to learn is when the wind stops, these things come off. Clarity, again, I think Clarity is a great business model. I actually think what they're doing is really fascinating. But, the market gets disappointed, the stocks come off hard, and Clarity is a case in point. So just keep your mind on this because growth stocks have done really well. If it rolls over, get ready to take profit.
Okay, Rudy, would you be tempted to sell or at least take some profits at this point?
It is a bit the type of investor you are and the composition of your portfolio, essentially. A program like this, and maybe some of the viewers as well, you tend to focus on one particular stock. But I'm hoping that if you watch this program and if you're on the share market, that you don't just have 1 or 2 or 3 stocks in your portfolio. If you run a portfolio and you have, let's say on average, between 15 and 25 stocks in your portfolio, then this can be part of that. And whether you're going to take some profits or you just let it run, it's also pretty much in relationship to what else do you have, right? And we're going to have a few related discussions here with some of the other stocks that have equally performed as well as Telix. My view is that, let's start with the experience. If you invest in stocks like Telix, and I haven't, but I have in similar companies, then at some stage volatility will pick up, and that just goes with the territory. People like to mow down success stories, like to question them. Some people are there for the short term, other people are simply trading the stock, and those who are on board for the long term, they can do really, really, really well, but there will be times when it becomes stomach churning. And I mean, and whether that is about to happen for Telix, I don't know. At the moment, it's not, because they just exceeded the guidance and all of that. So, personally, I would stay on board if you own the shares. Whether you take a little bit off is completely up to your own preference. The golden rule is make sure you can sleep at night. The other golden rule I have personally is that in stocks like TLX, you don't put too much of your portfolio in there. You know what I mean? You don't want your portfolio to swing around because one stock is doing all the work either way. If you want to get on board yet, I agree with Nathan. Don't chase it here. Wait for a stumble. Wait for a pullback at some stage. How large the pullback? Well, how long is a piece of string? I mean, you just pick your moment. You can apply all kinds of strategies, but I think bottom line is this company is not out of growth. It might have many more years. You just have to pick. You have to pick your moment. You have to pick your entry, and you have to stay the course.
That is a double hold for our stock of the day, Telix.
The stock of the day was brought to you by IG. Trade over 12,000 shares and ETFs, including major tech giants with extended hours on an award-winning platform. Get started at IG.com.